you go, guys. Bud Light fully stacked. Modelo's pretty heavy, I don't know. Well, you can tell here, Coors Light, Miller Light, Miller definitely got some sales going on. Even over here, Bush, nobody's buying Bush. Look at that. Hey guys, it's DJ Wonder Chrissy, and today we're using the indoor studio because it's kind of rainy and nasty outside. So today we're going to talk about stores leaving Chicago. Yeah, Walmart is halfway through their closure of 8 of their stores. They've already closed 4 of them, and they're supposed to be gone by the end of the year out of Chicago. It's old news at this point, but they haven't been making money for 17 years. Walmart's been in Chicago for 17 years, and they basically say, as a collection of stores, they have been losing money every year to the tunes of millions and millions. So they cut the cord early this year, much to the dissatisfaction of Lori Lightfoot, and now the new mayor, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon Johnson. He's actually thinking about having a city-owned supermarket. Consider that. Give me a break, right? I mean, if Walmart can't run something at a profit, and going back to Walmart, their main reason for losing money was not because they were overpaying their employees. No, it was theft and shrinkage is what they were saying. And I actually read a book by Sam Walton back in the 90s, and he even said when Sam's Club were the first to make it into Chicago in the late 80s, early 90s, and he said that at that point Sam's Club had never saw theft like they did when they came to Chicago. And at that point, Sam's Club had, almost 300 stores, and they were aghast with the amount of theft that was going on, that they just couldn't believe it. They'd never seen it in any other market until they came to Chicago. So there you go. Chicago is just a different world. Whole Foods actually opened up for a couple of years too, and on the west side, in one of the non-nicer neighborhoods. They pulled the plug too. So there's a food desert. Yeah, there's a food desert again in Chicago, and I think part of the problem is like I said, it's theft and looting. Back in the pandemic, in the riot stage, there was a lot of looting going on in the neighborhoods at the Walmarts, and even the Walgreens threatened to close some stores, and I do believe that they did. So Aldi's, yeah, I'm an Aldi's fan. I love to shop at Aldi's. Even Aldi's has closed several stores in Chicago, and so it's not just a one store issue. And I always say that Chicago is going to be the next San Francisco, folks. It's taking a lot of policies that San Francisco has implemented many years ago, and now we're trying to implement them here in the Midwest and downtown Chicago, and it's not going to be a good thing. Like Monday, the no bail law. So basically, if you're arrested for anything, they're going to let you out unless you're a defined or a definite risk to yourself or the community. So they're not going to be putting people in jail like they used to, and they're just going to push them back out on the streets. Where have we seen that type of mentality fail before, right? So we're looking forward to seeing how that turns out, or how that fails here in Chicago. Actually, it's for the whole state, so we got that to look forward to. But anyway, so our governor also passed a bill a couple of weeks ago where they're going to give out grants to food stores. So I think Brandon was looking forward to maybe taking advantage of some state money and grants to set up a grocery store. He's just looking at it right now. I guess he's got one of his persons and his staff looking at what it would take for the city to own a grocery store in the city of Chicago and set up shop and let people come in and steal everything, basically. So there you have it. Things don't get stupider than that, folks, and I'm here to tell you that that's just an idea that's just going to be more waste of taxpayers' money. And as a taxpayer of Illinois, it kind of pisses me off. But anyway, there you have it. More crazy ideas from the politicians of Illinois and Chicago. We can go on and on about this. I got lots of stories about what the politicians get away with here in Illinois, and it would raise your hair for sure. So there you go. We don't have Lori Lightfoot and her weird ideas, but now we got Let's Go Brandon Johnson and his weird haircut to guide us through the whatever is going on here in Chicago as the recession hits. And things aren't getting any better here in the economy. As I said, we got Wal-Mart entirely pulling out of Chicago by the end of the year. They had 8 stores. End of the year, they're not going to have any. Although we still have one of the Wal-Mart heirs. I forget his name, but since Ken Griffin has left our state, this Wal-Mart heir now is the richest person in the state of Illinois. He doesn't work for Wal-Mart. He's a philanthropist, but he lives in Chicago somewhere and calls Chicago his home. But he's allowing his company or his company that he owns a big chunk of to leave the city. So there you go. Chicago, more problems in the city of Chicago. Who would have thunk, right? They let crime just go. And although this last week, for the second time in 1 year, they've had like 24 shootings, but there was no people that were critically injured. That's the first time that's happened, or actually the second time this year. So that doesn't happen quite a bit. Usually there's some bad outcomes every weekend. We usually get reports on those in the media. So there you go. Walmart's leaving Chicago. There's food deserts, and now our state wants to give money to anybody that wants to open a grocery store in a food desert of Chicago or even Illinois. You can do it in the country, the rural areas too, they said, because they're not prejudiced. But there you go, DJ Wonder Chrissy over and out. And hey, Aldi's my favorite store. I like to go to Walmart too every once in a while. They're not closing mine, that's for sure. So over and out, DJ Wonder Chrissy.